Coming up on Talk is Cheap, the Dead Mountain, a killer of tents, or a killer of people, or a killer of both. We discuss that coming up. Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap. I am Dusty Long, and with me,
Dan Hohlfeld.
And
DC Christman.
And today we are going to talk about the Devil's Mountain. And I say the Devil's Mountain because I can't actually say the name. I'm going to try here, so bear with me. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. This was given to us or suggested to us by Jason Barker. I want to say thank you very much. So let's get right into it. So this is called the Devil's Mountain. So I can't remember the date. Let's go ahead and start this video here because they'll show the dates and that will help me immensely. Mute that. We don't need to hear that.
Let's go full screen.
You want to go full screen?
Oh,
boom.
go full frontal.
Full screen. All right. So February 1st, 1959. So these non-experienced hikers are going to the Dead Mountain. There it is. I said devil, but that's the movie. I apologize. There is a movie on this called The Devil Mountain, but this is actually here. Never heard from him again.
Did it get good ratings, or is it?
I don't even know, to be honest.
Where's this at?
This is in Russia, the Ural Mountains. Mountains. So what happens is, I'm going to make it really quick. You know, these 9 people go up there. They go to this little village and they say, hey, we're going to go hike this mountain. Now, the villagers are like, no, do not go up there. They call it the Dead Mountain or the Devil Mountain, whatever, the Dead Mountain. And they kind of warn them, like, don't do it. However, they're kind of like, well, I haven't heard anything. It's just bad, blah, blah, blah. So these guys decided to go. Now, out of I think there was 10 starting out. And what happens is one guy, he has to turn back. He doesn't feel great. So he stays at the village for a bit and he turns around and takes off. No, so these 9 people head up the mountain. I think there's 2 females. The rest are all males. They're college students. This is a retreat, just trying to get away. Now, There's a couple things that go on here, and this is where the conspiracy jumps in. So they go up to the mountain. They're not heard from. Well, it's kind of unheard of. It's not unheard of to be up there and kind of be a couple days late. So after 9 days or so, they're still late. 2 more days go by. Okay, now it's being an issue. So then they run up there. The rescue teams go up there. Excuse me. So what they do is they find a tent, which is going to show in the video, but I want to show. Whoops, that's not the tent. So they see this tent. This is the tent. As you can tell, it's crumpled and whatnot. Now, here's the interesting thing about the tent. The tent is ripped from the inside. Okay. Now, the conspiracy is...
Suffocating, grabbed his pocket knife to get out of it.
So the conspiracy is that these people went up to the mountain, and there's 2 conspiracies here. So there's a Bigfoot or a Yeti conspiracy. And that's when they... Well, I'll save that. There's a Bigfoot Yeti conspiracy, and then there's a UFO conspiracy. The Russians were apparently doing testing. They thought that the conspiracy is that the Russians are actually trying to capture a Yeti or a Bigfoot. In the mountains it's called a Yeti. They're trying to catch them. So they're actually dropping bombs and trying to herd them in a certain area, and it didn't work. And then a day or 2 later, these people actually go up on the mountain. Of course, the Sasquatch is very upset. Is very angry. So what the conspiracy is that these people are running away up the hill or up the mountain away from the Yeti. And that's where this picture comes in. This is the last picture on one of the cameras. So all the pictures, and this is why this conspiracy has a little bit of weight, they say, is because this picture is the last one on the camera, and all the other pictures on the camera were very still. They were taken, they were sharp and focused and looked really nice. This is the only one, they say it looked like someone turned around and took the camera and just kind of panned it around behind them and shot, that type of thing. And this is supposedly supposed to show the Yeti that was chasing them. So then they get up to the top of the mountain. They pitch their tent right, haphazardly but quickly in this little, against the mountain. And they cut holes in it so they can see and watch the Yeti come in. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the Yeti attacks. The people run off because what happened was when the rescue team got up there, these people ran out without being clothed. Very little clothing on some of them, no shoes on most of them. and they ran down the hill. And of course, they were found with these massive impact type wounds. And the one guy had a fractured skull, but it wasn't fatal. And then all the fatalities happened from like these impacts. So they thought that the Yeti was hitting them.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
right.
I think so.
So that's one. There's also another one that says that people 30 miles away, which always upsets me because 30 miles is quite a long ways away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say that's 30 miles away and it's over top this mountain. But they had glowing balls of light. So now people are saying, and because some of the clothes were radioactive or had some radioactivity to them. So the second one is that the UFOs were up there and they were attacked by UFOs or trying to be abducted or whatnot. And they're kind of the same type of thing. So you have these two stories, and that's what's so famous about this. When they went down to they found the bodies. They found two bodies. They were in their underwear. There was tree branches 30 meters up, were all broken and whatnot. So it looked like someone climbed up there to see or what's going on. They looked like they tried to start a fire or had started a fire.
In the tree?
No, not in the tree. However, might not have been a bad idea.
Right.
So there's a fire. There's two naked bodies.
Well, you wouldn't strip down to sleep in cold weather like this, right? I mean,
No,
you would.
absolutely
Yeah.
not. No. Well, here's what we think. Well, I'll get to the whole what I think happened, and kind of I'm being honest, Jason. I'm sorry, I'm debunking this one, but anyway, so so these guys are naked.
Another viewer gone.
Goodbye.
So these guys, they're naked. Then they go down the ravine, and I think it takes them another 3 months for it to start to thaw to find the other people. And I think there's two other people that were found here and there because I know there's 9 total. I can't remember where they're all found, but the most interesting thing of the 2 or 3 people that were found later, 4 months later, one had facial features were messed up. They had no nose. The eyes were ripped out. The tongue was ripped out. What was the other one? Oh, the other one had that really hard compression on the chest, and you can only get that type of wound from like a car crash. That type of impact. So, all in all, the conspiracy is they went up there. Another thing was the Russians might have been testing an air mine, which is interesting because the balls of light could have been the same thing. So it drops, I guess, like a parachute and then gets so far it blows up. And that would cause a massive shock wave, which of course would shock and damage the chest like we were talking about. So then doing the research, and I've already read about this before. I was really interested in this about 3 years ago. But doing research recently, I found a debunk. Of course, somebody had debunked it. So I watched it, and then I read a little bit more on it. And I got to be honest, it makes a lot of sense. And normally I don't try to debunk things, but this one made a lot of sense. So here's what this guy or these people thought what happened. They went up there, and it was snowing, it was winter, it was blowing, weather, whatnot. And I'm gonna go back to the tent to kind of make a point. The tent, as you can tell, has been disheveled and it has snow on it. It was cut from the inside. They think it's an avalanche. So what happened was they're in the pass. The avalanche comes down. It buries the tent. This is where you can get that pressure.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how much everyone knows about avalanches, but
Did they say that they had to dig out snow? A lot of it?
I don't remember them saying anything, but there was quite a bit of it. So, and as you can tell, there's a lot of snow on the top. So I'm wondering if he wasn't really right on this. So what would happen is, say the avalanche comes down, it hits them. Well, I used to snowboard all the time. I can tell you when I wiped out, I've lost boots before, I've lost gloves, so on and so forth, right? I don't think everybody has, or sledding, when you have a good wreck. If you have that much snow coming down and hitting you, you might not have all your damn clothes and whatnot. So what happened was they got a little separated. They started heading down the mountain to find shelter. Because where they're at is there's no trees or anything else. They get down further and there's this little forest. So they go down there, and that guy, or the broken branches, more likely the guy was out there trying to holler for his friends. They started a fire. 2 of them died. And those 2 people probably had their clothes on. Well, the other survivors, more than likely, what you would do is you would take the clothing off the dead.
Right.
And you put your own clothing on.
That's a good point.
Now, the chest compressions, that car wreck, that type of stress and everything else, these people might have made it even further, and then they died. Now, the question that was always brought up is, why is the tongue ripped out and where are the eyes gone? Well, it's just kind of a little grotesque, but when you die, if you go outside and die or something, animals attack the soft, fleshy parts. Victims' POW camps had their noses chewed off by rats and whatnot or their eyelids, because that's the first thing that the animals go to. So they didn't find these people right away. They might have been out there. So scavengers might have chewed the eyes out, the nose, the cheeks. I mean, these are all fleshy, very easy to get to. Birds, rats, wolves, whatever. They were also, and I don't have pictures of it, but they also were found in where water was running, and they were found 4 months later. So there's a lot of decompression, not really, no, decomposition that could have been going on there. So that's the tent that was being cut. 9 sets of barefoot print footprints, and again, like I said, it'd probably be easy to lose your shoes. 5 of the hikers' bodies. See, they're not properly dressed. Again, this kind of goes back to that point where if you're in that avalanche, you don't have the right amount of clothes on. Now you're outside. Now you're freezing to death. So, so this is a couple months later. They're 1 mile down. Major chest fractures and skull damage. I mean, this could be from. And look, they're in the water. That's the most. They're found when this runoff. Mm-hmm. This could easily be,
avalanche,
an avalanche, or they could have stumbled away, whatnot, gotten there.
You said these were college kids, right?
I believe they were college kids. They were out on like a holiday of some sort.
I wouldn't go on there for a holiday. That's
Well, it's supposed to be a nice camp. You go out, for a nice thing. The hiker's tongue is missing, of course. Like I said, they're in the water. Any kind of animals are going to go there. A compelling natural force. Again, they want to say UFOs or Bigfoot, but I honestly believe that it was just.
Well, to back up the UFO side, some of those mutilations, they take tongue material and stuff for those.
True, we've seen the cattle mutilation over in here in America, and if a cow dies, and the thing that's compelling about the cattle mutilations is it looks like it's cut, like the cheek's been cut, and whereas. Normally something's gonna, eat away. It doesn't have that nice cut to it.
It's precision
that's what makes me believe that could be a UFO.
Yeah.
Whereas this, they say it was ripped out. Well, that's not cut. That's ripped out. That could have been easily a wolf or any other type of animal at that point in time. They did shut the. I forgot about this till we got here to the video. They closed to the public for 3 years. Now this is
3 years.
Yeah. This is what gets people kind of, the conspiracy theories kind of, lends that weight to that side. Because I'm not saying I debunked it, like I don't believe it, but that picture of the Sasquatch being closed for 3 years, I can see where this could be a cover-up. I can also see where it could very well have just been an avalanche. And if you had that bad of an avalanche, wouldn't you shut it down for a little bit too or whatnot? They thought the native people there did it too. They even investigated them. Oh, yeah, the journalists getting access to classified materials, and they're like, well, it's not all there. Well, it's been quite a long while,
Right.
Yes, this is some of the clothes. Now, this is interesting. Some of the clothes were radioactive, not all of them. And this is at 30 miles away. They witnessed the.
So what would cause
lights.
that radioactivity?
Well, radioactivity is everywhere. There's background radiation.
I guess they didn't say how high it was.
Yeah, and it could have been from the mountains themselves. There could be radioactive material in the mountain that could have easily gone ahead and when that avalanche hit them, I mean, you could have got a little bit more radioactivity, from that. If there's any uranium up there, especially or anything like that. So when people say radioactivity, I mean, there's radioactivity everywhere. We're bombarded with it from the sun. I mean, it's not like you're getting joules of it or anything, like a huge amount, but there's always background radioactivity. So this is the final photograph taken by hikers, which I just showed you a little earlier. Well, no, not this one. I don't know what the hell this is. That's weird. This is not the video I watched. I just want to give you a little something in the background that makes sense. The page is missing from the case files. But this was also 10 years after, 10, 20 years after, I mean.
Right.
And then it says, hey, I'm sorry you guys died.
That was a little nice service, I guess.
All right.
There you go. And you're dead. I don't know. I love it. Like I said, I was really interested in it a couple of years back. I did a lot of this research, and I ultimately really thought it was a Yeti. it made sense, that chest compression and
gorilla
whatnot.
The
Yeah, it
smell
made
is
sense.
interesting. Like, maybe he got in a snowball fight with the Yeti, huh?
Yeah, maybe. Well, when I first learned about this, they said that the tent was ripped. Like they were talking like the Yeti actually going in there, like ripping it and coming after him. And then after I read some more and got a little bit more interested, then new evidence came out that they cut it so like slits, so they're like looking through there. So they're saying the Yeti was like chasing them the whole time. And the one guy said something that was interesting. And this is a while back, like I said, but he said that if you're being chased by the Yeti, why would you pitch a tent?
Right.
I'm not trying
Why
to
do you pitch a tent when you go to sleep at night?
yeah, but I mean, if you look at that picture, this son of a bitch ain't too fucking far from you. That's reaching out to touch
they
somebody.
couldn't
Yeah.
see 'em,
So they're
thought they
saying
were
they
safe.
saw this picture first, and then they put the tent up, or they took the picture.
They
then
took
put
the
tent
picture and then took,
up. Yeah, that's kind
Because
of.
this is down in the woods. Now, the Discovery Channel, which is interesting, I didn't notice it till now, but this picture is from Discovery. This is off they did a whole, hour-long thing. Mm-hmm. When they went back there, they had the reporter and the camera guy and, like, a guide. Mm-hmm. And they didn't want to go into these woods because they swear up and down that the woods and the mountain all have Yetis and they're mean and whatnot. Dude actually had a shotty. It was, like, him and this other guy. And one guy's like, I ain't doing it. So the camera guy, because they had two guys or two guns or something. So like the guy with the gun gives it to the cameraman or some crazy shit. I didn't watch it all. Someone told me about it. And they go in there and then they get all spooked and like, oh, good Lord, what's going on? Someone's throwing something. And they run back out. This is apparently where that's at. It's a wooded area and then you go up to the mountain. So they're walking through the wooded area. The Sasquatch starts chasing them or like stalking them, I guess. I shouldn't say chase. He was actually stalking is what that people are.
Killers never chase.
No.
They always walk slowly behind you and wait for you to trip.
Buzz in with push that switch in and then talk. Get up to the mic.
Yeah, you gotta get, yeah.
What year did this take place?
The whole incident?
Yeah.
1850?
1959.
1959?
Pretty sure it said.
Yeah, 1959.
59, 5 p.m.
I said 18.
Okay, wasn't there supposedly like Russian military base just close to there?
Well, I don't know about there. I know there's some in the Ural Mountains. I mean, there ain't no joke about that.
Well, like radioactivity on the clothes, couldn't Russians have been
Testing.
bomb testing or
Yeah,
something
very
That's a good
true.
point.
to get
Yeah.
some of that
Right.
on
Yeah.
the clothing maybe?
And depending on where they were testing nuclear bombs or anything, that wind could have blown any amount of that radiation towards them too, absolutely. So,
One thing about this, like if we use Pete's investigative journalism
Oh,
on
yeah.
this, like this looks like human hands. Like it's not extended like the Bigfoot.
yeah, because didn't he say that they were a little bit longer,
they
so
go
they
down
reached
to like
down
the
the thigh a
knees.
bit more, right?
Yeah, and then this could be just a bad,
A
a
grainy
guy.
picture of a guy,
Yeah.
yeah.
a really crappy snowsuit?
There you go.
Well, and the thing of it is too, like in those clothing that they were showing looked like they were furs. They didn't look like North Face parkas. They
Yeah,
were
right.
fur jackets, very heavy, pants and whatnot. So this, like you said, it really well could. The only thing with this picture that I think lends a lot of credence is I don't see clothes though on this. Like,
No.
there's no billowing out of a jacket at the end. There's no distinctive end of the jacket, beginning of the pants, end of the jacket arm. It looks like a very furry mother, to be honest. But so I
Or
don't
it's
know.
a tight suit.
Yeah, I really don't know. And I'm like the debunking thing. I liked where he went because you watch a lot of debunking stuff. Sometimes you're like, geez, this is a bunch of shit. This guy doesn't know anything, or they're really stretching for that debunked.
Right.
Where you can kind of tell the debunking video I watched was really good. Actually, the guy was respectful, which is one good thing. The other thing on top of that is he was just like, this is where I think. So take what you will, Jason, and everybody else. I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% agreeing or disagreeing with either one, but I think I think it was a great topic. I want to thank you very much. I really do.
Yeah,
So-
it was interesting. I never heard of that one before. So
Nope, me either.
Did it really?
Really, never heard of it.
Wow. I thought it was excellent. So I'm glad to revisit it. I'm happy you brought it up. I'm sorry that I watched the debunking thing and it made sense.
the guy wasn't in the other room or in a different room. Just like those flat earthers.
I don't want to talk about the flat earthers right now. They didn't like me at all for the longest time.
we were gonna revisit that right sometime.
Yes, I did post a lot of the flat Earth video that we did. I posted on a lot of flat Earth groups on Facebook, and got more hate mail than I've ever gotten in my life. It was
Means
called
you're doing
more
something
names.
right.
Yeah, we're haters or fans. However, I explained to them that the reason I did it wasn't to be an ass, to be greatly honest. I did it so they could watch it and say, well, here's the evidence
Right.
of the other way. It took me a while to get them convinced that way. And I put the new videos up and they're still mad at me.
Damn.
You're stupid. I'm like, yeah, you're really mad at me for one video. So all the videos are stupid now, but whatever. So we are going to revisit the flat earth. It won't be anytime soon because I actually have like pages upon pages of links that they want me to read. It will take a while, to be straight up. However, I want to thank you, all the people out there, even the ones that don't agree with us. As long as you're respectful and kind, honest to God, we're not trying to say yay or nay. We're trying to inform. So, yeah, you don't like something we say or do, if you're respectful and say, hey, check this out, or I don't agree with you, that's great. We will check it out. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah, we're here to ask questions and demand answers. Maybe demand someday, but I don't know.
We're not, because we're definitely not here telling the viewers or you guys out there that we're right. We're only just discussing it. So, but yeah, some people get pretty upset about it, don't they?
Oh yeah, they get passionate. So.
All right, I want to thank you all out there for tuning in this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Any more comments, questions, concerns, or any of that stuff? Put them down there in the comments. And thanks for tuning in. Next time you go camping, there might be a Yeti in your tent. Dun, dun, dun. Coming up on Talk is Cheap. Are we thinking of camping soon? You might want to consider not. We're going ahead and talk about the dead mountain and this poor tent.
Yes.
Coming up on Talk is Cheap tonight, the tent gets fucked.
Your tent, Yeti approved.
Going to the dead mountain this summer? Watch for the Yeti.
Better bring an RV instead of a tent.
Coming up on Talk is Cheap. You going to pitch a tent anytime soon? Coming up on Talk is Cheap. 9 out of 10 hikers all agree that when you pitch a tent when running from a Sasquatch, it's not a good idea.
Oh, you fucked that one up.